Brownies.
Hello, Josh.
Me? Yeah, man. Since you're gonna be.
And this week we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, the Baltimore Bronies, we were founded at the after party of last year's BronyCon, so this is 1
No,
year.
it was the week after the after party.
It was what?
It was the week after the after party.
Let's just
Details.
say it was the after party. It fits better.
Hooray for being infantile.
Oh, I see they got the slide up.
This is the right one, right? The one.
Yes.
Yes, I believe
Yes. Are we in slideshow mode? I see the
Unless you
window,
want
the windows bar on the
so. The
bottom.
knife of friendship.
Yes. I'm gonna say the sword of harmony. But
All right, that's our flag, everyone. All right, we already did introductions, so next slide. Let's.
Me, but I'm not important.
Somebody introduced our best mayor.
I'm apparently not important.
best man.
Hey Matt, introduce the best mayor.
Best mayor?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm the
hi.
best mayor.
You wish. Ouch.
Okay,
Hey, I reserved that title.
okay.
She
First
does.
off, I would like to introduce myself. I am Matt Alfini. I originally wasn't supposed to be on this panel, but
I dragged him
But,
into this.
No, I dragged him into
I'm
this.
here to operate the slideshow. And I was more than happy to volunteer. And of course, you've probably all met our Mayor Babe Reese.
Hi. Oops.
Ain't she adorable, folks?
Yeah, I'll take the smaller one.
Very adorable.
Wait,
I'm
this one?
sorry. My mini me fell off somewhere. Okay, I'm just gonna put it right here.
Did you lose the magnet?
Somewhere. It's somewhere.
It's-
I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay? I will find it. I
John-
guarantee.
Josh's nervousness intensifies.
Don't lose that magnet.
Don't worry. I'll find it.
All right. This,
Can I introduce myself?
you should.
Konnichiwa. Yeah. My name is Dawazane. I am the tech support of the team, and also the only dragon on the team as well.
I already enjoyed this training.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm
So
just a
this
human.
panel is basically about giving you guys a tour of Baltimore for those who do not have time to see it, the beautiful city itself.
We're on the
It's
wrong
a
side
tour
right
without
now.
giving the actual tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, no walking. Woohoo!
This
Yeah.
this is a non-walking tour. We're gonna start the story at the very beginning.
Yarp yarp. Wait.
Yeah, in the beginning, Baltimore was just forest land and water. Yeah,
Kind of like DC. It was built on a swamp.
and then stuff happened, and now we're all here.
Except the
I
difference
guess that
is,
explains a lot about Congress.
All right.
except DC has some weird roadways, but we're not gonna go into that.
Oh,
This is
oh,
not a
DC has
DC
bad
panel.
roadways. Have you seen 695?
I think 495 is worse, in my opinion.
We don't talk about 495.
I've never seen 695, just the bumper of the car that's 2 inches in front of me.
Exactly.
The only thing important about 695 is the Francis Scott Key Bridge. $4,
And
though.
speed cameras. Speed cameras everywhere. And they do
Oh,
not
$3
mess
for
around.
Easy Pass.
I've been
Yeah,
hit
that's
by
right.
them like
One little known fact about Baltimore is that the Cutie Mark Crusaders hung out here a little while ago, as evidenced by the picture.
Evidence, no evidence.
Yep.
It's on the internet. It's got to be true.
Okay.
Oh my God, everything's all reversed.
You're going
everyone.
too fast. We don't talk that fast.
Technical difficulties.
You know what's really funny?
I don't know what I'm
I
doing.
called this train wreck last night, and I'm 100% right so far.
Matt, one job, Matt. Click a button.
Yes, please.
Everybody close your eyes.
don't know how to-
Spoilers.
All right, back to the Howard slide.
Back on track. Let's
Just,
get back on
just, just
track.
disregard everything on the screen. It's not important until later.
I called this train wreck last night. I'm on the road to winning $50.
Because nobody notifies
However,
me
he
of
was half drunk
anything, and
when
I'm
he
the
called the
tech
train
guy.
wreck.
We were drunk in Fells Point.
I'm wise when I
What
drunk.
side are we on?
Oh,
We
he is
are
on
on the
first side.
slide, which is a picture of Lord Cecil Calvert. Because we're just gonna get the show started.
Yeah.
Let's get it
Basically.
started.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
We are all here today because of that guy on the screen right now.
Yes.
Well, no,
He's not Arceus.
Voltaire.
that is Cecil Calvert, the second Lord Baltimore. He was a member of the Irish House of Lords and the founder of the Maryland colony. Baltimore is named after his estate in Ireland, which is called Baltimore because it means town of the big house, AKA he was a rich man. And it was the second colony that the family founded after a failed colony in Canada. Does anyone notice anything unusual about this portrait?
A lack of ponies.
I like Baby's.
No.
I love his fedora.
In this picture, you can see one of his servants. Most noblemen who had paintings commissioned did not include their servants, but this guy did. You can see him in the back.
You know, you can believe his word for now, but we all know you don't want to read a history book.
Yeah.
So you can trust it.
Next slide.
Yeah, let's go on to the next slide. All right, before Baltimore sent his people over, the area, the region, was used as a hunting grounds by the Susquehanna Native American tribe. They were rivals with the Powhatan and Piscataway tribes that were also in the region.
Hunt Valley, ladies and
Then in 1608, Captain John Smith of the Virginia colony explored the Chesapeake Bay. And then that's how Lord Baltimore knew that this land was ripe for the taking.
Has anybody seen Pocahontas? Because you might recognize the name John Smith.
I prefer John Rolfe, to be honest.
Yeah.
The most famous generic name ever.
You're all generic, just letting you know.
And Lord Baltimore's first expedition landed in what is now St. Mary's in 1634. That's what this picture is of. You can see a bunch of Native American fishing boats, but the two big European-style boats are the Ark and the Dove, the first English ships to land in Maryland. You can see Lord Baltimore's brother holding the Calvert family flag. Lord Baltimore himself never came to the colony.
He died on the ship.
Rippin' pepperoni.
And you can see that Christian priest in the front. He's Father Andrew White, the first religious figure in Maryland history. Next slide. All right. In 1649, a separate group of colonists established a town called Anne Arundel's Town. You may know that town because a few years later it was renamed to Annapolis. It was named after Lord Baltimore's wife, Anne Arundel.
That's Anne Arundel County.
And then later on, in 1694, Annapolis was established as the capital of Maryland. And it was a major port for the American slave trade, but the Maryland colonial government wanted to extend the port system.
Yay!
Hey, thank you.
Dim the lights.
So Annapolis was a fine port, but they wanted more port space. So what do? They sail north to the end of the Chesapeake Bay to another little area which we know better. Next slide. This is the beginnings of Baltimore town.
I thought it was Havre de Grace. You said north.
The first Baltimore settlement was established in 1661 by David Jones of Jones Falls fame. It was near the northeast portion of the harbor.
Haha, Davy Jones.
And then in the 1670s, the area, which is now Fells Point, started to be developed into a shipyard town to support the Jonestown settlement. Across the harbor, the General Assembly established the Port of Baltimore at Locust Point in 1706. The port would be renamed the town in 1729. It started to grow, and it grew some more. And then through the mid to the late 1700s, it grew a lot because it was centrally located between the industrial towns of the north and the agricultural towns of the south. So it was the Central American colonial port for trade back with Europe. And then the Revolution happened, the Continental Congress. They met in Baltimore in 1776 to 1777. So we were, for 2 years, the capital of the United States.
Take that, Philadelphia.
Well, Philadelphia was the capital, too, for a while.
We don't talk about that.
The actual declaration was written in Philadelphia. Then, in 1782, Lexington Market got established, and that really led to the growth of this town. And eventually, in 1795, Baltimore Town, Fells Point, Jonestown, and surrounding settlements were officially combined into Baltimore City.
Because everybody knows that Baltimore is way better than Philadelphia.
You have a better sports fan base, I can tell you that much. Because we have better
Next slide.
I think Josh said next slide.
This is Freedom Key. This is a actually, Glenn, are you out there? Stand up.
Shout out to Glenn.
Glenn created this OC last fall in commemoration of the Star Spangled Spectacular, which is a celebration we had of what may be the most important moment in Baltimore history. I'll pass the story on to Nick, who will take over and tell us more about this great day.
All right, next slide. Now, a little bit of backstory. Does anyone here know about the War of 1812? Did you learn about it in high school and stuff? The War of 1812.
I can understand if you fell asleep through history class.
Basically it's when England decided they're not gonna take our nonsense.
Actually, no. What happened was
Then I'm wrong.
the origin of the War of 1812 was actually through the Napoleonic Wars happening in mainland Europe.
Blame Napoleon.
Because the British Navy were interning our merchant sailors and making them serve the British fleet. Basically, like, we'd have a trade ship out there going to Britain or whatever, some other port. The British Navy like, hey, those are some mighty fine sailors you got there.
Be a
You
shame
guys,
if anything were to happen to
Come
them.
here.
You now serve the Queen's Navy. No
Exactly.
questions, ands, or buts about it.
With that problem, as well as trade restrictions, thanks to the Napoleonic Wars, in 1812, President James Madison decided to declare war on Britain. This is the first time in America's history that an American president declared war.
And it was a foolish mistake on our part, and we are very sorry.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
It was not a foolish mistake.
Sorry, not sorry.
Canada?
Almost immediately, we decided to invade Canada, which was a pretty poor decision.
Okay, maybe we did. Maybe we did drop the ball there.
Told you.
But with all the fighting happening in the north, the Canadians, who were still part of the British Empire at the time, asked for some help. So, around 1814, let me get this off. Around 1814, in early August, the British invaded southern Maryland and pushed up into Washington, D.C. This is where, famously, they burnt the White House down. But that night, they kind of had a tornado dropped onto their camp, knocked most of them out. That was God's way of saying, screw you!
So in other words, they had karma in their face.
Well, scream. Okay. That was perfectly timed.
LOL.
The timing could not have been more perfect on that.
I missed the cue. What happened?
Anyways,
You are now my favorite person in this room right now.
that was August 24th, 1814. The fires from D.C. could be seen for 50 miles away. That means from here in this very spot, or at least up on Federal Hill, you would have been able to look south and see the orange glow of D.C. burning on the horizon. It scared people. It was like the apocalypse.
Well, obviously, if a city's burning down and you're like right next to it, it's like, holy crap.
Thanks,
Of course.
Canada.
Hashtag Canada.
Blame Canada.
I'm just kidding. We love Canada for all the voice actors it gave us, but it also gave us Tom Green.
Notice me, America
Bieber.
Senpai.
I was literally about to say, it also gave us Justin Bieber. I am
Guys,
sorry.
guys,
All right, guys, we're in Baltimore, okay? Let's focus on Baltimore.
You're forgetting the maple syrup.
Okay, so
Hey, syrup's awesome.
because of that, the governor of Maryland decided this ain't happening to us and appointed General John Stricker, which he has a school named after him in Dundalk.
Middle school, to be correct. And
Middle
it
school.
actually has a map of the Battle of 1814 in the main lobby, and it literally depicts the route that every soldier took during that war.
I've got that on the next slide.
We should go on to the next slide.
Yay, geography.
This map, hold on, let me, does this,
I think your mic is down lower.
darn.
Still
I
a
don't
train
have the
wreck,
map-
folks.
Yeah.
This position right here, that is the main British fleet out where, out around where, between where this is, the British fleet positioned themselves at the optimum range for their guns, which was out of the range of the guns at Fort McHenry.
They had some big guns.
Very big guns. They had some of the most advanced warships of their time. Heavy mortars, heavy cannons, and even rocket artillery.
Macross Missile Massacre, anybody?
Yes, I'm getting to that. Up here, that's Fort McHenry. It's right down the road. You can take a water taxi to it. I highly suggest it. Great place.
It's also a beautiful place if you want to get a picnic going. I mean, it is a gorgeous place.
Or buy on a Pegasus bag and just fly there. That's always fun.
Over here is where Francis Scott Key's ship was, where he was trying to negotiate. Where he was trying to negotiate. Hold on, let me just screw to this. Get down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have turned this into a college course. I am so sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I'm the tech support and nobody notifies me, and
We
I
only
have
had 2
equipment that would have
rehearsals.
done something for this.
You're not supposed to reveal that, Josh.
Over here is where Francis Scott Key's ship was. This is where he was trying to negotiate a prisoner exchange with the lawyer. Down here is where the British landed their Royal Marines. This was their invasion force trying to capture Baltimore. As you can see, back then, this whole peninsula was their main route into Baltimore. This area now is called Fort Howard. They marched up North Point Road, where they met the Maryland militia up here in North Point. What happened was they had been marching all day, and it was about noon. So they're tired, they're hungry, they made camp to have lunch. General John Trigger and all the volunteers make a surprise attack on the camp. It is during this attack that British General Ross, the man who was in charge of the troops who burned down Washington, was fatally wounded by a Maryland sharpshooter. To this day, no one knows the identity of the sharpshooter. His death dealt a major morale blow to the British troops. Even so, the British troops were able to beat back the Maryland militia, and they made orderly retreat back to the defenses of Baltimore, which is where Madison Square Park is now. That night, the British made a 24-hour bombardment of Fort McHenry. It is with this site that Francis Scott Key penned his famous poem, Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can we see?
We don't have time right now.
Ain't no point you got time for that.
Relatively no damage, and from what I recall, there was only 7 deaths, and like only one of them was military. The next morning, the garrison raised a 32-foot by 40-foot flag while playing Yankee Doodle Dandy. This inspired the people line, that our flag was still there. With that, the British knew that they'd been beaten, and they made a hasty retreat. They took all their ships, gathered their men back at Fort Howard, and made their way back south out of Chesapeake Bay. That flag is now at the American History Museum down in D.C. If you ever make your way down there, go see it. Nice flag.
It's much nicer than ours.
Next slide. This is the area today. As you can see, the British did not have access to bridges like this, and the surrounding area around the Potomac has been expanded
Go visit him.
Oh, I'm pretty sure if the bridges, even if they had the bridges back then, they wouldn't put a toll on it.
If you go over that bridge, you'll see an American flag decorated buoy, which is the approximate position of where Francis Scott Key's ship was during the battle. It's a really cool spot. Perfect place to watch fireworks on the 4th of July. Anyways, next slide, and to Nathan's portion.
Who's having fun yet?
Yeah!
I'm glad we could entertain you.
I should mention.
History!
I can't hear you.
I should mention that before we get into Nathan's era, we had another major war that our city was involved in, and there were major riots. We'll get into that later if you ask us nicely.
Civil War.
All right, so guys, I'm pleased to announce that I'm wrapping up all that boring history with more boring history. Oops. Okay, sorry.
I'm the historian. What do you
You
expect?
have one job.
About history.
I know.
No, that was his fault this time. I'm innocent.
So pretty much this map shows the Midwest. The Midwest is very important to Baltimore. In 1806, Thomas Jefferson enacted a law that would construct a road from the waters of the Atlantic to the Ohio River. The law stated Baltimore as its eastern terminus. The road would eventually grow to become U.S. Route 40, linking Atlantic City, New Jersey to Silver Creek Junction, Utah. The Appalachian region, which lies to the west of Baltimore, was a large producer of coal, which was the fuel of the Industrial Revolution in Baltimore. This called for innovation. We needed a way to be able to trade with the Appalachian region as well as the Midwest, which lies beyond. Also, that pony back there, that's his name's Hayseed Turnip Truck. I'm not trying to make fun of you, West Virginians.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're making fun of your buck teeth. Just
He's awesome unless your name is Rarity.
Rah, rah, rah.
All right, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. The C&O Canal was begun in 1825 and completed in 1850. The purpose was to link the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., an outlet to the Chesapeake Bay with Cumberland, Maryland. The primary purpose was to transport coal to eastern cities from the Allegheny Mountains. As you can see in the picture behind all the text, they use those skinny boats. Today, the canal is pretty much a gigantic bike path. And what makes it special is it wasn't just a flat river that they had to dig. It actually ascended 604 feet through a series of 74 locks, which involved flooding and draining to lift boats up and down. Keep in mind, this is technology they had back in the 1830s.
Who's up for a kayaking trip?
B&O Railroad, this is a pretty big deal. You may have seen one of our major stations, the Camden Station, right outside our stadium.
Also,
It's
it's a
also on a Monopoly board.
yeah. I was just about to add that. You can buy it in Monopoly.
$200.
Baltimore grew rapidly following the Battle of Baltimore. The completion of the B&O Railroad meant the city was now linked to the Midwest, which boosted trade and industry. You can also buy it at Monopoly for $200.
I know, right?
But it only gives you a $25
All
return.
your properties are belong to us.
Although, if you get other railroads, its value goes up.
Taxes.
If you have all 4 railroads, it brings you $200.
No, do not say that horrid word in this state.
Wait, what horror?
We have enough of them.
Taxes?
La la la
Stop
la
it.
la 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 la.
Taxes.
I love
Hey,
you all.
that was repealed.
I love you all.
That was repealed.
All right,
For those
Mayor
of you
Mayor
that
has
don't
something she
know-
wants to say.
For those of you that don't know, they tried to tax rain in the state of Maryland. I am not kidding. You had to pay. You had to pay for the rain. It was, because it was presented by the state of Maryland to
Hang on,
you.
we got an objection here.
It was a tax for how much runoff your property would contribute to the Chesapeake Bay. It wasn't a tax on rain.
Which means any rain that falls on your property and goes into a drain goes into the bay.
If you're part of
So
Chesapeake Bay,
all
part
of
of...
it.
I'm pretty
So
sure the
enough about politics.
yes, we have a skyline in front of us.
Guys, we're derailed. Let's get back to Baltimore,
A distinctive
please.
local culture started to take shape, and a unique skyline peppered with churches and monuments developed. Baltimore acquired its motto, Monument City, after an 1827 visit to Baltimore by President John Quincy Adams. The Gilded Age. The Gilded Age was pretty much a coin termed by, I'm sorry you can't read this, but Mark Twain pretty much defined the Gilded Age as corruption with a gold lining.
One of my favorite
So like modern day politics.
One of my favorite quotes by Mark Twain is he sent one time when they discovered the telegraph, he sent a telegraph to all of his friends saying, "Hide, all is revealed," and all of his friends left town immediately.
Uptown, funk you up.
What?
Funktown.
Really, Ryan? Really?
Really?
Andy Kuhn,
Really?
I think you need a better joke book.
So this next slide is important because after all was said and done, we had railroads, we had Route 40. Industries kept moving to Baltimore, and it grew to pretty much become the city that you see today. And then in 1904, a massive fire broke out and pretty much burned 140 acres of central Baltimore, which is why you see older buildings around the suburbs and surrounding area, but the downtown's all modern. It's because it all burned.
Oh, it's my go already. I guess I'll carry the last leg of this race.
Well, no, we're just getting started.
Oh, gosh. I will contribute to modern Baltimore. Enough of this history nonsense. We're going to what you guys know now and today. Starting off with everyone's favorite war to research, World War II. Like every other major city.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody named Joshua Burner.
Burner?
No, I'm Josh
That's
Turner.
the analyst panel.
What?
You're looking for the analyst panel, are you not? Yes, this is Josh Turner.
Lovable and happy.
No, I'm Josh Turner.
Yeah, you mean the fiery Joker? He's one of the analysts.
What?
He's one of the analysts. This is not the analyst panel.
Well, where is he taking autographs?
I don't know.
We don't know. This is the Welcome to Baltimore panel.
Well, that was an interesting aside.
That was random.
Like I said,
Sit down, please.
I love him.
Are you sure you're not looking for Digibro? Oh, wait, he doesn't do pony stuff.
I'm loving this train wreck already. I just go let it go.
Mad Coon, get me my blades.
I'm looking for a Spike the Dragon.
Oh wait, you're looking for Jesus?
Don't we have a joke about that later?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, I got that joke. I got that joke all covered.
Okay, yeah, so World War II,
I
let's
was
go.
enjoying this train wreck. Thank you, guys. Anyway,
Keep going.
like most major cities across the U.S., Baltimore became a major production site for ships and aircraft. As you see,
We were the main shipyard for the Atlantic Fleet.
yep.
Hawaii and California handled the Pacific Fleet.
As an aside note, the Martin Marietta factory here in Maryland produced the B-26 Marauder bomber, which was actually the bomber with the lowest loss rate over Europe.
Yep. And as you see in the background is the SS Patrick Henry, which was a major deciding factor in the Battle of the Atlantic. Take that, Hitler. And Baltimore is also home to the Blue and Gray Division, which is basically like a National Guard garrison of sorts for anyone in the Mid-Atlantic region. But don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the Battle of Stalingrad up on the top right.
In fact, last year during the celebration for the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Baltimore, the local 175th Regiment of the Maryland National Guard actually marched from downtown Baltimore at Patterson Park to the location where the battle happened. It was a big event. It was really cool.
Next slide. But enough about the war period. Let's move on to urban expansion and civil rights, the 50s and the 60s. During this time period, Baltimore reached its peak population of 960,000. I can't read backwards, but anyway.
959,000.
Okay, there we go. Which was still in the top 10, but that will be the last time being the top 10 most populated cities in the U.S. Construction of the BWI began around this period. Who here flew in? Raise your hand. Who here flew in? Well, that airport you landed began in the 50s. What else do you have there?
Something about-
Our baseball and football team came to town during this time period. Oh, anyone O's and Ravens fan? Kick him out! Get out!
All right, well, more on the sports later. We have a whole section on them.
Yes. Okay, and well, you can't have the civil rights era without the MLK assassination riots, which happened in 1968.
But that was just here. That was all over the place.
Yeah, that was in every major city. Rip and pepper.
Although in our city, the mayor at the time was famously quoted as, "Let them burn," which was in reference to the fact that the riots were happening, unfortunately, in the black communities. So Mayor Schaefer did not want to risk his white firemen in the fires. So he said, if they want to burn down their own houses, let them burn.
Also,
It was a controversial decision, but that's history.
well, on an upside note, O's won the first World Series in 1966. Our first championship, guys. Well done. Next slide. Better Baltimore, 70s to, well, now.
Well, Baltimore, this is the history panel.
We're in Brony Convention. Baltimore is what I'm going by.
Do we really have to be politically correct? Because I don't want to do that when I'm on vacation for my job.
Anyway, 70s is where we began the revitalization period of Baltimore. This is basically, we turn it from like an industrial factory city to what you have now, a touristy, inner harbor, aquarium, fun time for the kids.
Baltimore Science Center.
Yep, Baltimore Science Center. We also had the light rail constructed here. Well, the convention center is a little bit later, but that's the next.
The convention center was renovated in '76.
Yeah, 76 into the early 80s.
Yeah, and I also built Harbor Place, which is where they have Five Guys and stuff.
Yeah. And also Fells Point got modernized during this period.
Anyone who doesn't know what it was like before the '70s, it was pretty much just like Boston. It was crappy. Sorry, anybody from Massachusetts.
We're not trying to make you feel bad. It's just, unfortunately, that's how the facts land.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're better.
But yeah, basically the 70s is what it basically began what you see now, the convention center, the light rail, the metro, everything. Next slide. Oh, I skipped the 90s, didn't I? Oh, well. Okay, Millennial Baltimore. Well, before we get into Millennial Baltimore, I'd like to mention that in the 90s, 1992, Camden Yards was made, which is a retro-style baseball park. We'll get more into that in a bit. And also 93, we hosted the first time the the All-Star game was first held here during 1993. But now we can jump to the Millennial Baltimore with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl in 2001. Someone salty in the background. Hi, Cliff.
Yay, hand egg.
Okay, there we go.
Yep, Ravens during.
Go Steelers.
Get off this panel.
Yeah. You're not welcome here.
Just
anymore.
kidding, I hate all the teams.
Well, yeah. Well, Millennial Baltimore, 2010s, the Ravens won 2 Super Bowls during this short time period. They've been here since '96, so I'm guaranteed most of us are older than the Ravens organization. So, The Wire. Who is familiar with The Wire?
Me.
Good people, because that's when The Wire began premiering, and it was set here in Baltimore. And also, the Hilton extension, like that bridge in the Hilton Convention Center, began its construction during the 2000s. But enough about boring old words.
Oh wait, one more major event happened during this period.
Well, you
And
can tell them as they're looking at that fancy picture I have in the middle.
In 2013, BronyCon comes to town, the single most important event in modern Baltimore history.
I thought that was
I thought that was the eastern side of the U.S. because the western had Everfree.
Well, that is why we have this picture here. The Baltimore Oriole mascot with the 3 BronyCon mascots.
But
Canvas,
there's another mascot here who we haven't heard from lately. Go on to the next slide.
What? No.
Hey, Breeze.
Oh yeah.
You're up.
Okay, so many of you guys have probably seen the building with the green roof. So Baltimore is filled with tons of great buildings. You have the building on the left, you got the building on the right, you have the building with the green roof. You got a bunch of hotels, and you have the Baltimore Convention Center. Yay!
The green building is my favorite.
Yeah, the green building's the best. I don't know what it is, but it's the best. I can tell you that.
It has fancy colors.
It's
We'll just
very-
go
What
with
about
that.
that clock tower just up the road?
Oh yeah, the clock tower too. That's also very awesome. Okay, next slide. All right, this is City Hall. Often where like the mayor and the governor go to argue about where the crabs come from.
And this is where Nathan works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an intern at City Hall. Yay.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Virginia.
When I was making the slideshow, I accidentally forgot to put the slide in, and I had to rush back to put it in as I was converting it to PowerPoint.
Nathan's our insider, so he tells us all the dirty secrets the Baltimore mayor has in store for us.
The crabs are actually from Virginia.
But we're not allowed to mention them because, they're top secret.
All right, next slide. All right, so this is the Oil Park Stadium, also known as the house that Ripken built.
I think our friend John can do the slide.
Yep.
Yes. Do you want to do this? Because you are our... No, I mean, you pretty much know this material in your sleep. I think you said it in your sleep one time.
He's like the Orioles' biggest fan. He knows everything.
Well, he can tell you all about Camden Yards.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Okay, next slide.
No, I don't think he wants to be on this panel.
Okay,
He doesn't want to be
and
part of the
This is M&T Bank Stadium. We got the house that Ripken built. We got the house that Lewis built. And also Purple Nation.
And it's a unique feeling standing right on the 50-yard line in the center of the stadium.
It's an amazing place to go during a playoff game. So much purple, so much pride, and the visiting team doesn't stand a chance, especially the Steelers.
I was in the coach's locker room.
we did it.
Little too much info there,
Yeah,
Tai
too
Chu.
much. Next slide. I didn't need to know that. Okay, so many of you guys have probably seen the Baltimore's, the tower, the clock tower. Many of you guys might be staying in the Marriott or the hotel that is green that I currently cannot read. What?
Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn, yeah, that. So you guys probably can see the clock tower from your hotel.
It's called Bromo Seltzer. We didn't actually research what the name means because
Bromo Seltzer was
Just
the name.
know
It
it's
was a
German.
company that made
Just
medicine.
know it's German.
They made seltzer.
Yeah. All right, next
Okay.
slide.
one
Okay,
of Baltimore's prettiest
All right,
buildings
now I
right
got
there.
a question for you guys. For anybody who has seen that clock tower lit up at night, who thinks it looks like the clock tower from Kingdom Hearts?
I do.
It looks like the
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh yeah.
Because
See
she
it
wanted
now.
to add a point to it.
Wait, but isn't the clock tower in?
You can also get a great view of the clock tower in the sky.
Guys, next slide.
But it's in the world.
Okay, and so some of you guys commuting by train might have actually stopped at Penn Station. So, like, I have to say, while you're on the train, word of advice, make sure you, like, guard your cake because a certain pink pony stole mine. Damn it, Pinky. Damn it. Yeah.
Babe Reese, I have a confession to make. I hired Pinkie Pie. to
Hey,
steal
Nick,
that
I think
cake,
this was you.
So it's mine.
This statue here is Battle Monument.
Love you.
Dead to me.
After the Battle of Baltimore and the War of 1812, the city erected a statue in honor of the defenders of Baltimore. Now, today, the original top of the statue is no longer on the statue. The person you see on top of the statue today is a replacement. The actual monument's tip is actually at the Baltimore Historical Society Museum.
And
Because it was
it's
decapitated by Bart Simpson.
also located near a statue of a guy named King Gambrinus. More of him later, if you ask nicely.
More like ask rudely.
Yeah, ask rudely. You'll get the answer either way. Right, next.
Well, most like a lot of you if you ask rudely, though.
Okay, so this is the Washington Monument.
The
now you
true
guess
Washington Monument.
the true Washington
original.
Monument. You guys might know the one in DC that's really, really big, but I think that DC is trying to compensate for something.
That's all they do is compensate.
So
Are
this
there
is
is there anybody here from DC? We're not sorry about that joke.
Yeah, we actually mean it.
sorry, not sorry.
No. Oh,
Sorry, not sorry.
we're good friends with the DC Bronies. We shouldn't pursue this joke right now.
Yeah, we should.
Anyway, so yeah, this is a true Washington monument, not the one in D.C. Because actually, fun fact, the one in D.C. is modeled after the obelisks that Cleopatra had outside her palace.
Yeah, this Washington Monument actually has
Yeah.
George Washington on the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyranny of King Washington.
This is Fort McHenry. As you can see, it's a classical style fort, and it's actually pretty nice.
And it's shaped like a star.
It's shaped like a pentagon.
It's shaped like every
It is
five-sided
like
diamond
as you can see, it is a really nice place to go and like have a picnic and stuff.
And this is why Baltimoreans are proud to be Americans.
Yep. Pretty much.
Debatable.
Yes, highly debatable, considering some of us have a heritage from across
Baltimoreans,
the sea.
Baltimoreans, we take either one.
No.
All right. Next
All
slide.
right, next slide. We're not going to spend too much time on the
Oh,
slide.
yeah,
you all have seen this.
Yeah, like probably some of you guys walking up and down the street have seen the Hard Rock Cafe guitar just like looming over. So you guys have probably already seen that. So like we're right by the.
Yes, right where the mouse is that's where the Hard Rock Cafe is.
You are here.
And the Baltimore Aquarium is the largest aquarium in the world.
The aquarium. Anyone here from the aquarium tour yesterday? Raise it. Thank you all for coming back.
Josh didn't scare you guys.
I said thank you all for coming back.
Okay, next.
All right, my slide.
Ah, yes.
This is the Lloyd Street Synagogue. It's the third oldest synagogue building in the United States. The building on the right of the picture, the big red building, that's Chizuk Emunah, currently a modern Orthodox synagogue. The building in the middle is our Jewish museum. This area here, the neighborhood centered around the intersection of Lloyd Street and Lombard Street, used to be the major Jewish immigrant town in Baltimore. The Jewish community has since migrated out to the county, but the two synagogues, the Jewish Museum and Atman's Deli across the street, are reminders of the once colorful Jewish town that once was a major part of Baltimore's community. Next slide. This is the pagoda in Patterson Park. Patterson Park is named after the Patterson family. They were a wealthy family living in Baltimore around the beginning of the 18th century. You may have heard of a man named Napoleon Bonaparte from France. Who here has heard of him?
Well, I think everyone. It's a big part of world
Napoleon's
history.
brother Jerome, he wanted to see United States of America, so he chose Baltimore as his landing point, and on Christmas Eve, 1803, actually married Elizabeth Patterson, but the marriage would not last because the two families did not get along. Next slide.
Oh yeah, the Phoenix Shot Tower. You see, the shot tower was really ineffective because, if you build a cannon and point it straight up, the ball would go right up and then right back down, so it was very ineffective.
But that's how we thought we could get to the moon.
Yeah, that's also how Luna got sent to the moon.
Hashtag free Luna.
Yeah, this is how Celestia does her banishments, right here.
I think we run it out to Celestia every now and again as
Do you like bananas? Oh, no? Oh, well, that's okay. You can find out on the moon! Ah!
Next slide.
I love you so much.
I swear I am only here by force.
We were right by this building yesterday, Glenn.
Oh, yes, the Basilica of Assumption. Now, this basilica has, the longest name ever. It's 13 words. I can't remember them all.
It's called the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Assuming that Mary was a virgin, am I right, fellas?
Shots fired at the crowd.
I apologize for that joke.
Really big.
She dies every time she says it.
I told her not to do that joke.
Lies, you encouraged it.
well, we did.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
not sorry.
Next slide.
Next slide, please, before they kill me.
All right. Baltimore is also a major college town. We have MICA, the Maryland Institute College of Art. We have University of Baltimore, Baltimore City Community College, probably a few others that I'm forgetting, and our most historical university, Johns Hopkins University. Next slide.
I heard Morgan State.
Uh-oh.
Hey, look, it's Twilight's library.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Is that a library or her guards? I can't tell.
That's
This
building.
I thought you were talking about
This
that.
building is the library at Peabody School of Music, which is now part of Johns Hopkins University. This is a great place to start talking about Baltimore's musical history because we have a lot of musical culture in our history.
It's also great if you're cosplaying Twilight because you can just take pictures of her nerding out here. It's
Peabody
filled with
is the
books.
most prominent music school in the Mid-Atlantic region. It opened in 1866, and in 1985 it became part of Johns Hopkins. Next slide. Baltimore had a prominent jazz scene. We were possibly the fourth most important jazz city after New Orleans, New York, and Chicago.
I don't care about those three cities.
Nolines.
No, but we had a lot of jazz here. The major bands were led by Sammy Lewis and John Ridgely. We also had a theater called the Royal Theater, which existed from 1922 to 1971. In the days of segregation, the Royal Theater was our African American theater, which was actually part of a touring circuit of African American jazz and vaudeville acts. There's also a band called the Orioles in the 1940s who pioneered doo-wop, which later led to rock and roll.
Doo-wop, doo-wop.
And this picture is of a place in Baltimore called Club 347, which is a jazz club. Next slide. We have jazz. We also have a rich history with classical music. This is the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. It was founded in 1916. In 1965, Joseph Meyerhoff became president of the orchestra. Meyerhoff is also famous for opening several facilities in Israel. The Symphony Hall opened in 1982, and then in 2005, the BSO also started playing regular concerts at Strathmore in Montgomery County. That's Meyerhoff. And a note about the BSO, last month, our meetup group actually had a meetup to go see them with group tickets. We went to a Pokemon concert.
Oh yeah, wasn't that the Gamer Symphony Orchestra?
No, that was a Pokemon concert.
Okay.
No, the
That was
gamer and the
University of
Pokemon are
Maryland.
two separate
Oh,
things.
all right. My
All right,
mistake.
next slide. In addition to music, we also have a rich theater history. This is the Mechanic Theater. It was open from 1965 to 2004. After it closed, there was a campaign to have it preserved as a historical building, but corporate greed ran out and it was demolished last year. So don't go searching for this building because you're not going to find it. Next slide. This is the Lyric Opera House, home to Baltimore Opera Company, home to about half of Baltimore's Broadway tours, and a beautiful theater. Next slide. This is the Hippodrome Theater. It originally opened as a cinema in 1914, closed in 1990, was renovated. This is our other major theater now, and the first play that was ever performed at the Hippodrome Theater was The Producers, which is a play about putting on a play. AKA, this theater opened with Meta Theater. Next slide.
All
My
right.
favorite part.
I'm sure all y'all hungry, so this is the food section.
Pass along, we only have about 10 minutes.
Baltimore has a very rich food history. We are the central location for seafood. As you can see, our main staple is steamed crabs.
And crab cakes.
Crabs, crab cakes, and Natty Boh in Old Bay.
I had Natty
Yep.
Boh last
Crabs,
night. It
the
was
best
good.
food that you dissect while you eat.
And if you don't want to dissect your food, you can always just eat crab cakes, which have already been
And
dissected
then wash
for
it
you.
down with Natty Boh.
Yep.
But don't.
But we have a lot of great restaurants in town. Go check them out, seriously.
Oh, if you want a good beer to go with your crab, Natty Boh.
Yay! Everyone's favorite part. The sports of Baltimore.
You might have to rush this one along.
Okay. Now it's time for a crash course, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you can see here, you got the two main sports teams, the Orioles and the Ravens, and then you got the get out. And then you got the treacherous Colts, who betrayed us overnight. In the bottom of the pictures, you got Camden Yards in the middle, Ravens Stadium during a home primetime game on the right, and then the Baltimore Grand Prix on the left because I'm a racing nut and I want it there.
The Grand Prix is a thing that we ran for 3 years, and then it kind of didn't work out anymore, so we're not running it anymore.
It sucked.
Also, Applejack on the Colts symbol, ladies and gentlemen, you don't see.
All right, next slide.
We're not known for just baseball and sports. We got soccer, lacrosse, and jousting. Anyway, our indoor soccer league team, the Baltimore Blast, have been doing really hot the past couple of seasons.
They're consistently one of the only teams that's permanent in their league. They get like they get new opponents every year.
And then lacrosse, you got the University of Maryland Terrapins against the John Hopkins Blue Jays. John Hopkins Blue Jays. in a historic rival match held at M&T Bank Stadium. And for a brief period, I want to put the Baltimore Stallions in there because
Isn't the Army-Navy game also held at M&T?
later, Josh.
Sometimes.
Next slide. No, they were a Canadian Football League team. They were here in 1995.
Now, this is the slide I forgot to edit, so I apologize that no one can read it.
It's beautiful. Look at Ray Lewis holding that trophy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baltimore sports lore and rivalries. Well, you can see on the bottom right, you got the Baltimore Raven pony and a Denver Bronco pony, which ties into the Mile High Miracle. I'm sure we all know that.
Greatest game ever.
Fantastic game.
Exactly. We got the Army-Navy game, the Crab Bowl Classic, and of course the Terrapins Blue Jays game. And we also are home to the O-Chant. Oh! There you go.
When you go to sports games throughout the country, and when they get to the line, at the line where it goes, oh, say does that Star Spangled Banner, yeah, that line, and everyone shouts, oh, that started here.
And we're also known as Birdland because yes.
It's
Yeah,
only
and
here,
if you ever
Josh.
want to get a free pass on it, just hang around that guy. He
Also,
pretty much
SK
screams
hot
it too loud.
dogs.
I was talking about Birdland.
Yeah.
Well, it's Birdland for obvious reason. We love our birds and we back up our birds. And then hot dogs and naughty bows.
Because he wanted to put it in the ballpark section.
Because
All right, next
hot dogs,
slide, next slide.
You can get
moving
hot
on.
dogs anywhere. You can't
But
get
here comes
Maryland's
the main
king crabs
attraction,
anywhere.
ladies and gentlecolts.
Here's where we start to talk about actual horses in Baltimore.
What every pony here came for.
I assume. Anyway, Pimlico Racetrack, nicknamed Old Hilltop because when they constructed the racetrack, it was on a hilltop, and you can see the entire city of Baltimore from there.
That's not true anymore, though. It developed since then.
Yeah, because we have towers now.
It's also home to the second of the 3 Triple Crown races.
But we were the original. Don't let anyone tell you about the Kentucky Derby. We were here first. We were the original.
Oh yeah.
As you can see on the bottom right, thank you, Glenn. American Pharoah winning at Pimlico during rain showers. But in relative to the subject, it was also known as the running of the Black-Eyed Susans, in which basically the winner, such as American Pharoah, gets draped with yellow flowers called Black-Eyed Susans.
I should note that they use Black-Eyed Susans because it's the state flower of Maryland.
And speaking of flowers and horses, Babe Reeves,
Hello.
you're up.
Hi. Next slide, please. I think. Right. Okay. So the thoroughbred is the state horse of Maryland. This horse here, the black one, came all the way from Japan. Now I forgot how to read katakana, so we're just gonna call him Shigure. All right? Yeah.
Zabazane, you have an answer for the name? You have an answer
You
for
can
this
read
horse's name?
katakana.
A little bit of it. In fact, there's more kanji than.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kanji,
Yeah.
not
Next.
katakana.
Anyway,
Next.
Next.
All right, so jousting in Maryland. Jousting is Maryland designated jousting as the official state sport in 1962. Jousting tournaments have been held in Maryland since early colonial times and became increasingly popular after the Civil War. Now keep in mind, Maryland has 2 kinds of jousting. You have the one where you try to knock each other off the horse, the fun one to watch, or
the manly one.
yes. Or you have the one where they try to grab 3 rings as they run around in circles on their horses.
And there's 2 great places to see jousting in Maryland, both in Anne Arundel County. You have Medieval Times at Arundel Mills Mall, and you have the Renaissance Festival, which runs late August to late October over in Crownsville, both in Anne Arundel County.
Double AC.
You got a turkey leg that's like this.
Yeah, next
big,
slide,
man.
next slide.
All right, so traditional ring joust is a test of skill and horsemanship where riders pass through a series of arches and attempt to spear 3 dangling rings and present them to the judges. Yeah.
But that's when I come in and steal them and run away into the sunset.
Yeah, he has a tendency to do that also with my cake.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
All right.
Love you.
Babe Reeves,
That's
I
me.
think this is your last slide.
Oh yeah, so you some of you might have seen some arbors. So arbors are people who walk around the city on like horse-drawn carts, and they try to like sell you their goods. Like it's usually like flowers or
Fresh
fruits.
produce.
Yeah, fresh produce. So if you see an arbor, please buy something from them and help them support themselves.
Sadly, it's a dying tradition. You don't see many of them anymore.
Yeah. All right, next.
Celebrities of Baltimore. Before I go any further, I'm just going to add Lauren Faust is from right here in Maryland. She's from Annapolis, our capital, so.
Woo!
Hail the
You guys
Queen!
know-
Hail Celestia. Hail Luna.
Baltimore is home to
Y'all
many
welcome.
famous people, such as Jay-Z, Thurgood Marshall, who is a Supreme Court justice, and he's also an airport.
And he's black. I mean, what?
Yeah, and he's black.
What?
Edgar Allan Poe, who's a poet.
Nevermore.
Philip Glass, some of you may know him. He's a contemporary composer. John Waters, he's a director and screenwriter. He wrote Hairspray. Chuck Close, he revolutionized portrait drawings, paintings. Jada Pinkett Smith, who happens to be Will Smith's wife.
Not for much longer though.
Gotham? Anyone like Gotham? This was in that. Yeah.
David Hasselhoff, who's, well, he's not from the SpongeBob movie, he's actually from Baywatch, but I know him from
SpongeBob
SpongeBob.
movie.
I didn't actually notice the SpongeBob characters in there before at all our rehearsals.
Babe Ruth grew up in a town in Baltimore called Pigtown.
In fact, his house is now a museum, which is right down the street from Camden Yards.
Michael Phelps, he won a bunch of gold medals at the Olympics.
Yeah, he's not born.
And then he had a drug scandal.
But we don't talk about that.
No, we don't talk about that.
And the train wreck is over, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. All right. Now,
Riding with us.
I should mention that our official Baltimore Bronies artist is in the vendor hall at booth 211 Key Lime Creations. Go check her out. Lots of talent there. Do we have any questions?
Actually, I have a special shout out. Everyone, I'd like to give a special shout out to Josh Turner. Yesterday was his birthday, so this entire weekend is his birthday weekend.
It's also our group's anniversary weekend.
But Josh
said
is more
that
important
already.
because he's the head.
Yep.
Any questions?
Good.
All right, then.
Angels.
Then I declare the train wreck over. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.